Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
The Price Sisters are joining us on Big Blend Radio today to discuss their first full-length album. It's called A Heart Never Knows, and it's made with Grammy-winning producer bil-vorndick, out now through Rebel Records.
It's cool.
Who knew that you'd have bluegrass on Rebel Records?
I like that.
It's rebellious bluegrass.
It's good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm very excited, Nancy. We've been watching their videos and listening to the album. A Heart Never Knows is their second release. It follows their 2016 self-titled EP, and these ladies are just 23 years old, twin sisters, Lauren and Leanna Price, and they have this energy. It's electric. It's warm and electric, and I think it's really good to bring into the world of traditional bluegrass and folk music. I think it's got a nice edge to it, yet there's still that traditional sound and flavor, so I love it.
It's got personality, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So everybody, we're going to bring them on the show in a couple seconds, but first you've got to take a listen to their title track of the album. Again, it's called A Heart Never Knows. Go get it on Amazon, Google Play, all those great places, but here it is. A Heart Never Knows. to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and you just heard A Heart Never Knows, the title track off of the Price Sisters' debut full-length album, out now through Rebel Records. It's available on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, but go to their website, thepricesisters.com. Very excited to have Lauren and Leanna join us today. Lauren, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. Doing very well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to have you. Leanna, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having us.
Well, we love this. Nancy,
yeah, this is fun.
I know. I feel like I want to go out into the Appalachian country.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go hiking when I hear your music. For some reason, there's a connection to nature for me. There's just like a fresh, very fresh feeling to your music, and your harmonies are incredible. Wow.
Thank you very
Leanna,
much.
did it start with instruments first and then vocals, or because they're all equally as good? What was the first thing for you both?
Well, actually, we started singing when we were, as long as I can remember, really. Our parents are both very good singers, and we all did that casually around the house, and that's really what I remember doing when we were a little kid, little kids in the evenings and getting together with the family is singing. And we didn't end up taking lessons on our instruments until we were 9.
Wow, this is incredible because you're in your early 20s now. And Lauren, you got into the mandolin. That was your first instrument other than voice?
Yes, it was. Like Leanna said, we've really been singing together, here and there, I think for as long as we could talk, or at least that's what our parents say. But because music was always in the house, we didn't necessarily have a family full of musicians, but musically inclined people, and just people who loved music. It was just a part of our everyday life, and especially when we'd get together with our grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, music was really how we all were brought together, like after dinner or, something like that. But I can remember when we were little, our mom and dad, and we didn't always, we weren't always into bluegrass. That was, back then it was really old-time country and music like that, like Jimmy Rogers and the Carter Family and Johnny Cash and things like that. But when we were maybe 7 or 8 years, well, we would have been about 7 years old, I think. Our mom and dad actually, and this is kind of an odd memory, but a good one. Our mom and dad showed us a Dixie Chicks CD cover and asked us if we would like to play an instrument, what instrument would it be? And I pointed to the mandolin, and Leanna pointed to the fiddle that were in those pictures. And that's how we chose those instruments. Now, our daddy played guitar, and so, like we said, it was more along that style of music, but still, we didn't know anything about the mandolin or fiddle, really. But for our 8th birthday, they got us our instruments, and when we were 9, then we started taking lessons. So.
That's cool that you actually chose what you wanted. Because my mom's a twin, and my grandmother, everything was always the same. Like if one had a red dress, the other one had the same red dress, and if they're going to have an instrument or a book, it was always the same. Did you grow up like that, where everything was always the same?
A lot of times when we were little, we did dress alike, but not because our parents made us or because we wanted to necessarily. I mean, we didn't mind to, but we're each other's best friend, but we've always done our own things too in a lot of ways, although pretty much our lives are identical to each other, the things we like and so forth. But it was I guess interesting. But and then at that point we didn't even, we did take our lessons, and music was always a hobby thing, and we can get into more of that later, but we still didn't really think about pursuing it until we were around 16, I think, and we got turned on to bluegrass, and so it's been fun.
Watching you both, and listening to the album is just, you've got such a variety of styles in there for people and emotions. It's like, the full box of emotions that's in there, from sad to happy to just very nostalgic as well. And fun. You got a lot of fun in there because you both have this incredible energy, like we were saying at the beginning of the show. And watching videos of you perform, like I really want to see you guys play, girls, ladies, I should say, not guys. You know, but I want to see you perform live because that energy. Watching the two of you, and number one, I've seen some of those moves. You're fast, and it's this as twins and as sisters, and knowing each other so well. Nancy and I have that, you know, as a mother-daughter, where we look at each other, we know exactly, you know, we could be in two different rooms and know each other's look. It's, you know, we're kind of crazy that way, but
yeah, we're like, don't make that look at me.
But
I understand that.
There's this energy look at each other of, oh yeah, I'm going for it, and then it's like, oh yeah, watch this, I'm going for it. It's not like a rivalry, but it's this build up that you both have together, which is really cool to watch, and it's supportive and fun, and it's just like, oh yeah, let's check this out. So it's fun. Have you always kind of had that kind of building duel? I'm almost going to say, Leanna, with your, like, here, I'm going for it on the fiddle, and then here comes Lauren on the mandolin. Like, check this out.
Well, thank you. And I guess to answer your question, in a way, we always have been somewhat competitive with each other, but never ever to the point of seriousness way. I guess no, not in a negative way at all, but we've always just kind of been, I think, in the supportive role that competitiveness can play, if that makes sense.
It's so cool to see because it's like, oh yeah, it's almost like you push each other up further in your craft, which I think is really good. It's a supportive kind of, you know, edge of like, how far can we go with this? Like, let's go for it. Let's talk a little bit about your music education because, you know, I was reading that Bill-Monroe was a mentor of yours. How did that happen, Lauren?
Well, when we were, like I said, when we first started playing music, it was in the family, and our grandmother plays piano by ear, and her mother played fiddle, and brothers played at square dances when back in the 20s and 30s. And so we grew up, like we said, with old-time country music, but at that point, we still weren't that interested in it to make it our own thing, I guess you could say. And it, but when we were 16, almost, we were ready to turn 16. We were still 15. It was in the summer. Our birthday's in the fall. Our parents had heard of the Augusta Heritage Festival and workshops, which is at Davis and Elkins College in Elkins, West Virginia. And they have 5 or 6 weeks throughout the summer focusing on week-long workshops with different genres of music. And we had gotten to hear of Bluegrass Week, and that seemed like it would be something that would be good for us. And so our parents thought, and Leanna and I, it's kind of a thing we laugh about now, but truth be told, Leanna and I weren't quite sure if we wanted to go because we had just never done anything like that at all before, and, you know, been away from home really a lot, or we hadn't played with other people. And if I can interject, right. If I can interject, we hadn't really played very much with other people, and where we're from, there's really not a lot of bluegrass, and there's not a very big musical community either, which is unfortunate. And if we would play with people, they would be living an hour or so away usually, and we'd all get together, you know, but it didn't happen very often. And so it was really something else to think that we would be in a place for a week where everyone played something like we did, you know, surrounded by that. It was kind of scary, I guess, in a way. And
it
was intimidating. You continue, but well, we assumed that, you know, of course, everybody knew so much more about it than what we did, which was true, but, you know, that never means you shouldn't try. But anyway, the thing that got us there really was that Leanna was going to take a fiddle classes from Daryl Anger, I believe, and if I can rewind just a little bit, we were about 5 or 6 when the Oh Brother Art Thou movie came out. And so even though we didn't know that much about the music, I mean, the movie was a hit with our family, of course, and that was the songs that we songs from the soundtrack were ones that we learned when we were little, just to sing around the house and things like that.
Oh, I love those.
And so I remember, me personally, I remember looking at that soundtrack CD when we were young and reading, the different musicians and information on there, and seeing Mike Compton's name, who played mandolin on a lot of that, and he was with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And I didn't know who he was at the time or anything about the music at all, but I do remember thinking, I don't know who Mike Compton is, but I'd like to play mandolin like that. And so fast forward however many years after that it was that we were going to Augusta, Mike Compton was teaching a Monroe-style mandolin class, and so that's what I was signed up for. And you asked how we got into Bill Monroe's music, so it is kind of a complicated story, but at that point we didn't even know anything about Bill Monroe or who he really was, except he was this big name in bluegrass. And, of course, he had passed away several years before that at that point, too. But so that was mine in particular being in Mike's mandolin class. But for both of us being at Augusta that week was our first introduction to bluegrass and really what it was, and particularly Bill Monroe's music. And since we didn't know much about bluegrass at all, we fell in love with the start of it, which was Monroe's music and his style, and that's what we really wanted to focus on. And so we did, and started learning his songs and trying to emulate that style, and then finding out that, which this is completely fine, everybody has their own taste, but a lot of people our age don't play the traditional style so much, and so we felt like that was something important to not honor, but also preserve, but then make it our own too, if that makes sense. We don't want to copy.
Oh, I think it's important.
But particularly when we want to show who our influences are, I guess.
Yeah, you both have a signature sound and an energy. Like I think that it's just so fresh and exciting. And I was going to ask you about that because, when we think about bluegrass, a lot of us don't think about a younger generation, of today playing it. And, I think Brother War Out, though, really put bluegrass on the more of a national map, because it's kind of a regional sound, I think. And I think the movie and the music just kind of open everybody's eyes up to what we get stuck into certain things and we forget some of this traditional music that we have in this country. And I think it really helped put it on the map in a beautiful way. And it's still one of the Soggy Bottom Boys.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the things is, when I was growing up, there was a lot of, when you got home from school, there was a lot of music shows that you could watch, but they really centered around pop or rock and roll.
Or hip-hop.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit later, and
Johnny Cash had a show. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was totally different. But most of what the kids were watching when I was a kid, which was only yesterday, it was really rock and roll.
Yeah,
that was featured on all the radio stations, and that's what the kids talked about, and that's the band names that you knew came from rock and roll mostly.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of stuck that way.
Yeah. So,
but I don't even know
until
if they
disco,
have
and then
shows.
disco killed everything.
Yeah.
Disco came around, but so when you go and perform, I know that you tour quite a bit, and you've got a heavy schedule. You've got in April, you're in Kentucky, April 28th, and in London, Kentucky, and May 18th, and then you do Ohio, West Virginia, Idaho, more Kentucky, and Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia.
Wow.
And, you're going to go to Dr. Ralph Stanley's Memorial Bluegrass Festival. That is cool. That's in 2019, May 2019. Talk about just having that real sound, right? Leanna, when you go and perform in all these festivals, are you seeing a younger audience?
Well, it kind of just depends, but I think more in the past couple of years, particularly, when we after Augusta was when we really started wanting to go to as many festivals as we could, and so that's been about 6 years ago now or so. But particularly in the last couple of years, I think that I've noticed more people, in our same age group. But, of course, maybe at that point beforehand I didn't really pay attention to it. But in the past couple of years in particular, I think so. I've seen notice that anyway.
Oh, I do want to go back to Bill-Monroe. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, generally, though, it's a lot of the older crowd there, which is wonderful, but we do need more younger faces at the festivals and people in our age group, and that's a big thing in the bluegrass community nowadays is how to get a younger audience involved, too, because, of course, the older generations who are there now, the reason that they come to festivals is because they went when they were younger. So we still need that. But there are a lot of young folks like us that do enjoy the festivals, just not as many as what I think there needs to be. But that's
I think you help with that. Being the fresh faces of bluegrass and at your age and the energy that you have will attract a larger younger audience to remember this music and first discover it and play it and enjoy it and go to more festivals and events. There's nothing like going to a festival, especially outdoors, and people sitting outside in the sun and listening to good, wholesome music. I think your music's very wholesome and something that is for absolutely all ages. To me, the festivals should be, here's an awesome family event, and there needs to be more of those kinds of events, or we should have more of a bigger attendance. It's so important to keep these festivals going. I remember at one point, it was about 7-8 years ago, a lot of the festivals, like just in the blues industry, that whole genre, the festivals were going away and not getting funded as they should. Now I think they're back on that rise of people wanting an experience, and there's some good, solid festivals out there. So I think it's exciting. But us as listeners, we need to go to all these support.
Well,
as a listener, you get stuck in like one favorite genre of music.
Yeah,
we love to experiment and see different kinds of things and listen to different kinds of music, eat different foods. Not to just get stuck in a pattern where you just do one thing.
Right. Well, that's great.
Stay that way.
Exactly.
Well, and with festivals, they really are. I mean, of course, we grew up very close to our family. We have a big family. But there's something at a festival for all ages, really. And particularly bluegrass music, like you said, it really is wholesome and family-friendly. And, regardless of your taste, that's such a nice thing to have. And that's actually one reason why when we were little, I know our mom has said this to people, but that we did sing the songs that we did because a lot of popular music at the time would have subject matter personally that, don't feel that little girls should be singing about. And, when we were 5 and 6 years old, that's one reason we sang the old time songs. But it just is a good environment for a lot of people.
I love that. And there's a mysticism to some of the music. I mean, if you look at your album, A Heart Never Knows, everybody, on Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, go get it. Go to thepricesisters.com. When you look at the songs that you have, like I said, there's just all these different emotions. And some of them have that, Brother Up, though, had like this mystical quality, like that southern mysticism that I love. It's swampy, it's cool. And you have some of that too in there. You've got the lively and you've got some gospel. But like Widow of the Mountain is actually one of my favorite songs on there. And it's like that takes you back, like, and you feel that feeling of,
sense of place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
that's
you.
it, sense of place in your music, when it takes you somewhere and you get those visual feelings. So the album, tell us about making this, because you've got a lot of great musicians on there, and then working with bil-vorndick. How did that come about, and where did you record?
Well, to start, when we originally were, all in the talks and everything with Rebel and Bill, back in 2014, 2015 at IBMA, we met with Dave and Mark Freeman for the first time, and just acquainted ourselves with them because we knew who Dave was, of course, just because he's an IBMA Hall of Fame member. He's legendary in the business, and so we wanted to meet them and talk to them, and so we did. That was in the fall of 2014, and we ended up getting to play some songs for them for probably a couple hours and just chat. And so since then, we'd kind of been in talks with them, just trying to keep in touch. And fast forward to the next year, 2015 at IBMA, Bill-vorndick had become aware of us, I guess you might say, and became interested in working with us through a project of some sort. And then Bill, of course, Mark and Dave at Rebel and Bill are all, very, very well, very familiar with each other. And Bill learned that Rebel was possibly interested in working with us. And so together, they kind of got together, and we all decided and got this idea that Bill could produce an EP for us, and it would be signed under Rebel, just as a nice little introductory project, I guess, because an EP is shorter than a regular full-length album. And so that all happened in the winter, and in March of 2016, we ended up recording that EP at Bill's studio in Nashville, and we recorded it the same week that we signed with Rebel, and so that was quite a memorable week. And it was actually over our junior year of college, spring break. So then that was our first project, and it was released in August of 2016, and thankfully, we're lucky to say it did pretty well for us, and we were getting some good feedback, and had plans to make a full-length album as soon as we really could, or felt like it was time. And so last summer, we went into the studio to record the full-length album, which is A Heart Never Knows now. And on the EP, we had they asked us if we could have, anyone play on our album, who would it be? And we were really excited. I mean, you can't. It's an understatement, but it was just incredible to work with Charlie Cushman and Mike Bubb. Ronnie McCurry was the main band on that EP, and Alan Bartram came and sang some harmony on that too. And for the album, Charlie came back, and so did Mike. And then Alan also sang some more harmony. Ruth McLean sang some harmony, and Brian Sutton played guitar. And so at this point, we couldn't have asked for any better experiences in the studio. And they were all just so great to work with. Bill is an amazing producer, and we never. It really is just kind of like a dream come true at this point, and we don't want to lose sight of that, because we've had some great experiences so far, and are just excited to see what happens with it. But
congratulations, because it's beautiful. Because you have such a strong musicianship. It's very, very tight and polished, but at the same time, it's not. Sometimes when you use those kind of terms, actually, it becomes very like, it's technically perfect kind of thing. But there's this roundness to it, and I find that's very important, especially in this kind of music, especially when you're playing a lot of fast notes. That to have that dynamic is that's key, isn't it? To be able to have roundness to it. I always talk about roundness, whether it's people's writing, photographs. I don't know what it is.
It seems instinctive, like
it's natural, natural feeling.
That's a good word.
Natural, and at the same time very, very tight. And the musicianship is it's phenomenal, as is your harmonies and the singing. It is a perfect album. You girls are going to rock it. I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen in 10 years? I can't wait. I can't wait to see you on stage, on TV and stuff. At the Grammys, and get our bluegrass up on the Grammys more, and things like that. So I can see a lot happening in your future. And the other thing too, I mean, you're playing with all these stellar musicians. You have a very good attitude, positive energy. But also, I'm looking at the fact that you're talking about going to college, and I think that's really important. But not only that, you went to Morehead State University's Kentucky Center for Traditional Music, and you learned traditional music, but also got minors in business administration, which I think is so important.
Yes.
And because sometimes we forget when it's a creative art, that business is the other part of it, and you have to have your head on your shoulders because it can be dangerous out there. There can be sharks in those alligator swamps. You know what I mean? I think that's important. Is that something, Leanna? If you want to talk about that, Leanna, that having that business, that your head on your shoulders, like straight,
Well, thank you. I mean, when we graduated from high school, we still weren't certain what exactly we wanted to do, but actually our
we had played a lot
of
music at that point, but
our graduation present was a trip to Delfest for the Delfest Academy to take classes for a week with Ronnie Furlong on mandolin and me with Jason Carter for fiddle, and that was just such a fun experience for us. And that at that point, I mean, but I say that to say that we still didn't know really what we wanted to do, but we knew at that point that we enjoyed it so much, and we were coming to just really love getting to play and getting to meet new people and learn from our heroes. The chances that we got to meet some of these people at festivals and workshops. And so we knew at that point that we just really, really enjoyed it. And but we still didn't really know that would be a viable option as a career. And so when we entered college, we were undecided majors. But this is kind of funny too, because we actually started school in West Virginia as undecided majors, but then through the course of our very first semester, came to find out about Morehead State in Kentucky and the Kentucky Center for Traditional Music. And on our way to play a festival in Western Kentucky that fall, we stopped by the Music Center and met Raymond McLean, who is the director. And of course, the McLean Family Band is very well known in Kentucky and to so many people in the bluegrass industry. And Raymond is the director of the center, and his sister Ruth teaches there as well. And as soon as we met them, we just felt this sense of, why didn't we know about this before? And this is where we need to be. And
there's your sign.
It really was something. And we had heard of different schools with music programs, and we had heard about Morehead State, but like Leanna said, we just didn't know if that was something. At that point, we thought, well, we can always play music, but as we started college, the less that we were playing music, the more we realized that we missed it. And we did tour the Music Center at Morehead kind of by chance whenever we met to rehearse there that day. And the first thing that you see when you walk in the front door is the registration desk, but then also above that, a picture of Bill Monroe and Bobby Osborne at the 1966 Tin Castle Bluegrass Festival. And so all at once, it's like, well, this is a cool place. And really seeing it is what it took to convince us, but it really kind of was like we were instantly convinced. And we just never really imagined having that sort of experience, but we transferred halfway through our freshman year of college to be traditional music majors at Morehead. And in spite of, how it's difficult at times, and especially, some people don't think that a traditional music major in college is a smart one, but we, along with, our colleagues, we hope to prove those people wrong. I guess you could say just the environment was so wonderful, and sure, if we hadn't done that, we could still play music, and who knows what the circumstances would be at the moment, but certainly haven't looked back since we did that. No, it really is studying an art form. I mean, just like you would study any other kind of music, any practice, any craft. It's, of course, it's a creative art, and but I think it's important to realize that if you're going to pick that, if that's what you want to do, then you have to be very serious about it. It's not, because it's as a career, it's non-traditional in every way, really, when you think about it, because there's so much, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, there's so much you have to learn on several sides, any of the creative arts, and it's always scary to choose any creative art as, I'm going to be an actor or actress, and a lot of times
I'm going to starve.
Yeah, and a lot of times parents are like, oh no, you're not. You're going to be an accountant.
You're going to be a doctor.
That seems a more secure kind of career. But who wants really a career when you don't
want to
really
be happy,
like what you're doing? It's not.
Well,
and
the thing for us, the thing for us was if this was what you were going to choose, then you had to work at it, and to make it, worth your time and worth all the effort that you put into it. But you would work if someone's really serious and passionate about whatever field that they're going into, then you're going to work at it regardless. And this is what we're passionate about, and if we want to make it. If this is what we decided to do, we have to work at it, or else it's not going to be worth the time that we've already put into it. I think that's just something that some people don't realize is because you work hard at whatever you're doing, regardless of what field it is. If you really care about it, you're going to work at it. A minute ago, that when we recorded the EP, it was over our spring break in our junior year of college, and we should mention, though, that because we signed with Rebel at that point, but both Bill Vorndick and Dave and Mark Freeman were very supportive of the fact that we were in college and that we had goals to get these college degrees. And so they, adjusted the schedules in a way for that timing. And so we graduated last year in May of 2017, and a month after we graduated, we recorded the album. And we just couldn't have asked for a better a group, I guess, a support group and team to work with, because Rebel and our producer, Bill, have both been very understanding of what we want to do personally, but not only that, but, of course, what they hope for us to succeed as being on their label. And it's just been
that's awesome.
A great experience for us so far.
That's awesome.
That's really
I love
cool.
that. I love that. This is just so positive. It feels good. We need positive stuff like this in the world. So
thank you very much.
Speaking of that, let's play "Singing My Troubles Away." Lauren, tell us a little bit about the song, because this again, like this. Here we go, girls. this is a good showcase of your talent.
Well, Leanna and I heard this on the radio a couple years ago, and it's a Delmore Brothers song, and the Delmore Brothers were actually the first full-time entertainers on the Grand Ole Opry. And they did it a little, we do it a little differently than they did, a little different tempo and feel like that, but we just thought it was a great song and thought that a lot of people would like it, so we wanted to do it.
Right on. So here it is, everybody. It's "Singing My Troubles Away," and again, it's off of the Price Sisters' debut full-length album, A Heart Never Knows. Go get it on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play. Go to thepricesisters.com. Again, go to thepricesisters.com. Here it is, "Singing My Troubles Away."
It's 'cause my trouble has gone
You're listening to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and you just heard Singing My Troubles Away. It is featured on the brand new full-length album by the Price Sisters. It's called A Heart Never Knows, and go check it out on their website, thepricesisters.com, and we're excited. We have Lauren and Leanna with us today, and man, again, those harmonies are incredible. You're like birds. Like, how do you get all the way up there like that? I'm just like, okay, I'm going to climb a ladder. Either that, or and in some ways, I say we should have some moonshine with this music. That's what I'm saying. Let's have some fun with this. But, I want to ask each of you, someone that you wish you could play with that you've never played with before, musically, and you're going to play somewhere live that you've either always wanted to play in this venue, or you have and you just love the venue. So you're going to play with someone that you've never played with that you've always wanted to. You're going to choose the venue, and you're going to choose one of the songs from your album. How's that for a good question? This is yeah. So let's start with you, Leanna. Why not? It's your turn.
Well, I suppose are you meaning someone who's still with us or someone who has passed on?
Doesn't matter. Can do either. We have powers over here.
Well, I suppose if I had to pick anyone, I do have. I could name off my top favorite fiddlers. I could definitely do that right now. But my most favorite has to be Kenny Baker, and of course he passed away in 2011. But for a lot of musicians, when you think of Bill Monroe, Kenny Baker almost comes immediately to mind. And Bill had several phenomenal fiddle players, but Kenny is the one who had the longest tenure with them and recorded so many of the recognizable Monroe fiddle tunes with Bill. And when we really first started listening to a lot of Bill's music, I just fell in love with Kenny's playing, and his certain style is so smooth. It's not too smooth. It's got that that edge, and it's so smooth and artful. But he drew upon a lot of influences, of course, through his family. But Marion Sumner, who played a lot of swing, and Kenny liked to listen to a lot of jazz and swing and things like that. So he brought a whole different sense of style, I think, to Bill's music, even if I can say so. He brought another aspect to it that I think when Bill heard that, he would work out tunes with Kenny, I've heard, and he would just have he always said that Kenny knew his music best, and I just fell in love with his playing, and that's my favorite style. So if I had to pick anyone, I would pick Kenny Baker. And I would really like to play the Station Inn. We haven't played the Station Inn yet, and I'm looking forward to hope maybe that'll happen sometime. So I'd love to play the Station
where's that?
Inn, I think. It's in Nashville.
Okay,
it's cool. But it's just a little club that's been around for 40 years, probably now. Wow. 30, 40 years, and everyone has played there literally on their way through Nashville and while they're in town, and everyone still plays there. I think it's the place to go to hear the best music in Nashville. I think personally, but so I'd like to play there, and I'd like to play with Kenny Baker if that were possible. And if I was playing a song off the album, I would probably have to say the instrumental, the Lee Wedding tune, because that was a song that Bill Monroe attributed to his Uncle Pen, and that song was featured on Bill's Uncle Pen album, which was an album of all tunes that he had learned from his uncle. And Kenny was the one who recorded with Bill on that album, and so Kenny recorded that song with Bill, and we recorded it, and that's probably what I would like to do to answer that question in a long, kind of roundabout way. But
hey, no, it's good. Good job. You're teaching us too. I think that's also something really cool about you two, is that you're teaching us things that maybe not all of us will know. This is that traditional music school that you go to, to learn about this.
Oh.
Because I think sometimes we don't know everybody. You may really be into bluegrass, and so people will know everybody, when you're really, really into it. For me, I listen to music like this and I love it, and I don't really know that much, so you're teaching us a lot. I grew up in Africa, man. We didn't hear that much bluegrass. But so I think that this is, it's always fascinating to me, and it's just so cool to hear this kind of music, and you just feel like you're in the Appalachian country, and I see fall leaves, and I don't know, there's nature.
Dance.
I know, I want to dance outside. It feels very freeing, this music, and I always see with your playing, singing My Troubles Away. I feel like the movement, how you're bending the notes. It reminds me of it's kind of like a river, how it moves, the music,
Oh,
so it's really cool
Thank you
stuff.
much.
Yeah, girls. So,
Thank you.
Lauren, what
That's
about
really
you?
sweet.
Who are you playing with? Where are you playing? And what are you playing? What song?
Oh, boy. Well, this is a really hard question, and I don't feel like I could say the same things as what Leanna did, even though I definitely could easily agree with her because we have the same heroes and things like that. But it's obvious that we never met Bill-Monroe and never heard him play. And that's not a realistic answer at this point. But if things were possible, if magic, if magic's real, or I watch the videos of Bill, and especially a lot of the documentaries. There's a couple documentaries that were made on him and bluegrass music, and it really just makes me think. I wonder what it would have been like to meet this person that we admire so much. And it's hard to explain because my favorite music is something that gives you an emotional connection, and I mean not in a strange way or anything, but just makes you feel something that you might not otherwise. And that's partly why me particularly being a mandolin player is drawn to Monroe's music, because it encompasses so much emotion. And so it's just really, it is a powerful thing. And I would like to, of course, have gotten to meet him, let alone play music with him. So that, that's a dream. But as far as today goes, we talked a little bit about Mike Compton, and I feel very blessed to have gotten to know Mike over the last few years since I took that class with him at Augusta, and Heidi Herzog. They now conduct the Monroe Mandolin Camp, which is it's going to be in its 5th year. This 2018, and Mike is the reason that Mike's playing is the reason that I play Monroe style mandolin, and it really is. And I was just over the moon excited because in 2016 and 2017, Mike and Heidi had me as one of their instructors at the Monroe Mandolin Camp.
Oh, wow.
And so I've gotten to know Mike over the last few years, and so I've gotten to play music with Mike here and there in different settings. But so I can't quite give that as my answer, but again, a dream could be to give a concert with Mike or the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And then, because I was thinking about this while Leanna was answering, and some of these people we know, but we're still just kind of acquaintances with, and we know the Del McCoury Band members fairly well. But I think a dream for both of us would to be able to play a song on stage on a show with the Del McCoury Band, because they were some of our first favorites and still are, probably our favorite group that is still touring today. And the place, Leanna mentioned the Station Inn, and I would have to say either the Ryman Auditorium or the Grand Ole Opry. It's everybody's dream in bluegrass and country music, but it certainly is ours for many reasons. But we hope that's a goal. And if I was doing a song off the album, I like them all for different reasons, and I have my favorites. But I really, one of my favorites is the title track, "A Heart Never Knows." So that might be it.
Right on. Right on. This is my new question for our musical guests.
I like that question.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
You're the mother. Of course you can.
Okay.
She's the boss lady.
I only know if you girls have ever swapped instruments.
Oh, well, not really, actually. This is Leanna here, and I can play a little mandolin, but when I'm around Lauren, I don't want to play the mandolin. And vice versa. Vice versa. That's pretty much it. Yeah, we've never really focused on each other's instruments. We both play guitar a little bit, but I suppose if we wanted to play another instrument, I know, speaking for me, I don't play guitar as much as I should because I always want to play the mandolin. But so that's still pretty much our focus. But
Okay, awesome. It has been such a pleasure listening to your music and chatting with you both. You're just such positive girls, talented and definitely getting the word out there. Fresher voice for bluegrass and traditional folk music of America here. So everyone, again, go to thepricesisters.com, get their album A Heart Never Knows. It's also up on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play. It's just beautiful music, and we're going to close with your song on the album. We're going to say, If I'm Going to Be Lonely. It's a little bit different, isn't this, ladies, compared to what we've been playing? This is a
little bit more of a country feel. Sorry. But we like all different styles of music, bluegrass and country being our favorites, but there again, within country music, we like traditional country. And this is kind of along that style, we think, although it's a newer song, it's never been recorded. But we just fell in love with the lyrics, and even though it's sad, it tells a sad story, we thought it was a beautiful song, so we enjoyed getting to put it on the project.
Right on. Well, we're going to play it now, and thank you both for joining us. Again, it's been a real pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Yeah, thank you very much. We really enjoyed it.
And happy travels on all these gigs you're doing and performances and festivals, and everyone, you can keep up with that again at thepricesisters.com.
And you just, take care and behave yourself.
Yeah, behave yourself,
Well, thank you both. It's been very nice to talk with you. Yes.
Here it is, everyone. If I'm Gonna Be Lonely, again, the Price Sisters, off of their album, A Heart Never Knows.
Here I go again crying. Lately that's been my way. There you go again trying to say you can't stay. If you're gonna be leaving, pack your things and be gone. If I'm gonna be lonely, let me be lonely alone. If I'm gonna be sorry, let it be sorrow and me. 'Cause my kind of misery don't need company. How can I feel so homesick right here at home? If I'm gonna be lonely, let me be lonely alone. There you go again saying it can never be right. Here I am again I'm gonna be lonely, let me be lonely alone.
So beautiful and touching.
I love it.
I know, absolutely. It's beautiful, everyone. If I'm Gonna Be Lonely, again, off of the Price Sisters' debut full-length album called A Heart Never Knows. You can get it out now on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, or go to their website, thepricesisters.com. Don't forget, Big Blend Radio airs Sunday through Friday. I'll get it straight. Sunday through Friday. It's a brand new schedule for us. And Sundays and Fridays we air at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday through Thursday we air at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Blog Talk Radio. And the best thing to do to listen to and get the schedule, go to bigblendradio.com. You can listen live or you can listen on demand. And we're also in various outlets like Spreaker, iTunes, SoundCloud, all kinds of places. So check that out at bigblendradio.com. And a big thank you to Spontaneous Rob Ridgway, the creator of the award-winning and best-selling or Amazon best-selling board game. It's called Spontaneous, the Song Game. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And here's a word from Rob, and we'll see you next time right here on Big Blend Radio. Spontaneous Rob is here on Big Blend Radio to share how his Amazon best-selling and award-winning board game works. Spontaneous, the Song Game, is perfect for families. I think just about anyone who enjoys music. Rob, how old or how young do we have to be to play Spontaneous?
You can be any age because everyone listens to music, and you don't even have to be talented to play. In fact, that's our slogan is sing it or shout it, talent not required.
We like that. We like that around here. And how many people do you need to play the board game?
Usually works best with 4 or more people. I'd say the more the merrier because then you have more song banks involved in the game.
Okay, so when you talk about song banks, let's talk about how this game works. Because I know when I opened up Spontaneous, I didn't have to really read too many rules. It seems that it's pretty easy. So just how easy is it?
It's really pretty simple. It's based on the concept of word association with lyrics. So someone will say a word, and whoever can spontaneously burst into a tune that contains that word would win the round. So somebody, the example of how the game came about was somebody said, "We're going to the mountains tomorrow if you want to go," and another person spontaneously burst into a tune that contained mountain. And
so, if I said, "Ain't no mountain high enough," that would be good?
Yeah, that is all you need.
And
at
I
least
didn't
5
even
words.
sing it.
It's that simple.
So did I win? That's what I want to know. Did
sing
I
it or
win?
shout it. Talent not required.
Easy peasy, everybody. Spontaneous is the song game, and that's where you go to get it. Go to songgame.com. Of course, you'll also find it on Amazon. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate it.